Aaron Rodgers meeting with reporters on Wednesday, just 2 days after that extended interview he did on ESPN Milwaukee, where it was a friendly environment for him, where he was able to address the Bleacher Report article in exhaustive detail. But yesterday, look, he doubled down to a certain extent. He didn't talk about it as much as he did on Monday, but he still believes what he believes about the situation. The big news, though, Mark Murphy, the Packers CEO, who had previously said nothing, Chris, he had an opportunity to speak about it, and some would say maybe it was a little bit later than it should have been, but here's Mark Murphy talking about his thoughts on the article that emerged a week ago on Bleacher Report written by Tyler Dunne.
It's all in the past, and a lot of half-truths and, a lot of stuff just made up. The conversation that allegedly took place between Aaron and I was completely false. We had a great conversation, but it was very positive, and, I talked about Matt LaFleur and said, Aaron, I think this change is going to be great for you and the organization, and it was very positive.
Now, remember, the report from Tyler Dunne was that when CEO Mark Murphy called Aaron Rodgers to tell him Matt LaFleur was the new coach, Murphy said to Rodgers, "Don't be the problem. Don't be the problem." And Murphy also reportedly tired of the diva stuff with Aaron Rodgers. So Murphy disputed that, but he also used the word half-truths, which means that there were some truths in that article. And that leads to the other point, Chris, that Mark Murphy made regarding whether or not this story ultimately will become a positive. Let's listen to what Murphy had to say.
I think this is going to be a great motivation for him and the team. You hate to have your dirty laundry, as you said, aired, but I do think it's going to end up being a positive.
From Murphy's perspective, we went through a little short-term pain here, and it stirred up some things, and we'd rather that not happen. But if it makes everybody focused and motivated and determined to be as good as they can be in 2019, that's a good thing, right, Chris?
Yeah, no, I mean, it is. And sometimes things like these are like this can, again, bring a locker room together, and especially maybe even Aaron Rodgers reassess how he wants to lead going forward or whatever it may be. I do think these things can be positive. Listen, I'm glad that Mark Murphy addressed the situation a little bit because, I didn't want to hear about you today because you were going to come in with all your conspiracy theories talking about, the Packers haven't made a statement and this looks real fishy and Rodgers must be guilty of everything. So I'm glad he got that out. Again, I think they were letting this die down a little bit. Mark Murphy didn't want to make this the biggest thing going on in the NFL the first day back for OTAs or off-season workouts or whatever it may be. But again, it's a new time there. It's a new culture. The bad news and the bad laundry is gone, and they're trying to move on from that and become more positive and a new team here going into 2019.
But you do have to admit that before Mark Murphy speaks, if there's a vacuum, if there's nothing from the Packers, in response to an article that Aaron Rodgers has come out and called a smear attack and passionately pushed back against the likes of Jermichael Finley and Greg Jennings and seems to take issue with everything in there, and he is clearly upset about it. And if he truly believes that it's falsehoods, that they're embellished by the reporter to boost his career, and the team has said nothing at all, at a certain point, that does become a problem. And I could see Aaron Rodgers look at what Mark Murphy said yesterday and say, man, you really didn't come out against this thing the way that I would have preferred. You're kind of laughing it off as, hey, it's going to make us better in 2019. So, again, when you're dealing with somebody who has that reputation, a well-earned reputation of being ultra-sensitive, you have to strategically think about everything you say. And I would guess that if he would admit it, Aaron Rodgers ultimately not happy with the way the Packers have responded to this report that he feels so passionately about.
Yeah, well, again, I don't think that the Green Bay Packers wanted to fan the flames of this story to start out the week on Monday and Tuesday and just give it more juice. I think they were doing their best to let it die down. And I'll really go back to something you said over the week that I think also plays into this situation. You've talked about, no ownership factor there in Green Bay. It's not in Green Bay's DNA and their history, at least in my observations, of them having these type of moments. You know, I mean the moments, I'm not saying the little dysfunction between Rodgers and McCarthy. I mean the moments of where there's a head of the organization who comes out and makes, you know, State of the Union type addresses on the team regularly. You know, that with the owner and a team like Mr. Kraft or Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, they're always at times going to get up there in front of the microphones and give you the State of the Union, what's going on with the team, and tell you their thoughts. And I think because of lack of ownership there in Green Bay and a different structure, you don't get that as much, and maybe they're a little slow to react to things like this as well.
Well, I just think that their position early on was keep their head low, keep their mouth shut, and let it just go away. But there was a disconnect between that strategy and Aaron Rodgers' strategy, which was go on ESPN radio in Milwaukee and tear this thing apart. And basically, if the team's not going to do it, then I guess I have to do it. I'm just trying to read this from the perspective of how does Aaron Rodgers feel about how the Packers have handled it. And Mark Murphy finally has spoken, but I think it's fair to wonder, given everything we know about Aaron Rodgers, whether or not he's upset at some level that they didn't address it more quickly and that they didn't attack it more aggressively. More PFT Live coming at you right after this.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.